And welcome everybody to the Huddle. It's KGUN9's sports talk show on all your favorite streaming platforms. I'm Jason Barr, joined as always by Pat Paris, and we've got a special guest right off the top here today, Ahmed Fareed of NBC Sports. Ahmed, thanks for joining us. How are you today?
Of course, real good. Good to see you guys.
All right. So first off, for everybody watching, listening everywhere, a little perspective or context here. Pat, Ahmed, and I all worked in Norfolk, Virginia. Pat and I worked at the same station different times. Ahmed and I worked at different stations at the same time in Norfolk. And we actually met at a Tyrod Taylor high school football playoff game, if I'm not mistaken, with the Hampton Crabbers. Is that right, Ahmed?
That goes way back. Yeah, Tyrod Taylor, who's still hanging out in the NFL. Yeah, it was a long time ago, covering one of the great high school football teams there. They have so many of them in that area of the country. But yeah, Jason and I were competitors. We would go head to head. We would try to beat each other for the story all the time. Yeah. Ruthless back in the day, Jason.
Yeah. And I did not come out victorious in those. All right. First off, or second of all, congratulations in order to Ahmed. Today, he was announced as host of Major League Baseball's Sunday leadoff on the Peacock streaming channel. So he's basically going to be the pregame host of Major League Baseball's Game of the Week. He's going to be doing that for 18 weeks on location. And the first week is going to be not this Sunday, but the Sunday after, Red Sox, White Sox. That's actually going to be broadcast on NBC as well. We've got a congrats, Ahmed, that. And then after that, it's going to be streaming. So, Ahmed, congratulations on that. Of course, for everybody who may not be familiar with Ahmed, he also does studio hosting for NBC Olympics. And as any network sportscaster does, covers a wide range of sports for the network. So we thank him for taking a couple minutes here. Ahmed, congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. That's a good way to put it. We all dabble in a little bit of different things at NBC ever since I got to the big, national network, NBC Sports Group, about 3 years ago now. It was horse racing, it was rugby, it was Premier League soccer, some other things, A-10 basketball, some NFL, of course. But yeah, now we're getting back into the national baseball business, and Pat knows this very well, is that the baseball fan is very much a traditionalist, as I am, and so there's a lot of different streaming services and changes popping up here. I think Major League Baseball is trying to figure out what's next. It's gone from broadcast TV to cable TV and the regional sports networks, and it's still there, and it's still a great home for a lot of these teams, but kind of just dabbling into some of these streaming services. And so NBC, we were glad to pick up 18 games. And yeah, I think it's kind of it's a cool concept because it's going to be the leadoff game for 18 Sundays in a row. So we'll start at 11:30 a.m. on the East Coast. And so we're talking, 9, a little bit like before then with the pregame show out West, and a little bit different for your time zone. But it really starts the day. And then we have about an hour and a half of that being the only game on Sunday morning, early Sunday afternoon. And then after that, about 1:30 on the East Coast, a lot of other games start happening. So we have the opportunity to kind of kick off the Sunday and celebrate what's happened in the week in baseball. And so I'm looking forward to doing that, and I'm really excited to give it a go.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about, baseball being a traditionalist sport, but at the same time, you gotta stay current, and streaming is where it's at right now. So you're going to try to stay current. What are you going to do to kind of incorporate some of the old school baseball and maybe some of the new stuff that people are maybe be a little hesitant to get into, but really need to get into? And I'm not just talking sabermetrics, everything. What are your big plans?
Yeah, I think a lot of the times you don't want to go in there and try to reinvent the wheel. We all love baseball because it is the game that we love and the sport that we love. And so you chronicle it and try not to mess that up. I think that's honestly, that's number one. Before you try to do anything too new, don't screw up what we've done well for so long. And so our broadcast will be fairly traditional. I think just the overall vibe around the show, the overall way that we're going to present it is, this is what's happened the week in baseball. This is the best of the best from some of the best players in the world and the best athletes in the world. And Pat, and you know this too, I think over the last 5 years, there's been a certain level of negativity in the sport, whether it be pushback from the old school fans on some of the new age stuff that's coming in, some of the new StatCast metrics. And now just recently with the collective bargaining agreement, I think there was obviously some animosity there on the players and owners side, and the fans didn't like any of it. And so with all that negativity around baseball, it's still an awesome sport. It was my first love growing up. It was a sport that I fell in love with in Grand Rapids, Michigan. following the Detroit Tigers. And so most of all, I think what we can present is our own unique perspective on the game and our own unique vibe. And hopefully that's a celebration of baseball. Hopefully it's a good time. Hopefully it brings people together, because I think that's what sports and that's what baseball does really well. Entertains, brings people together, and hopefully we can do that.
Ahmed, you're going to be on site for these games, but you've also been broadcasting a whole bunch of games where you've been in a studio because of travel restrictions, because in your case of COVID, other networks, maybe a budget situation, but you've done games where you've been off location. How have you been able to do that? And what's been the biggest challenge of broadcasting games where you're not there at the site?
Yeah, it has been difficult because I've done a little bit of play-by-play at NBC, and we have Atlantic 10 basketball. And so early on in the season, I did a couple games this year. I did a couple games last year. But honestly, that's the only play-by-play I've done. And so my only experience doing play-by-play is in a tiny little room, not much bigger than the one I have right now, with two monitors in front of me. And so people ask me that question that you just asked, Jason. They go, how different is it calling games off-site? And I go, I've never done it on-site. So, and I think that's probably happening with some of these broadcasters coming up right now, is that you can do so much remotely that some people are learning that way. But obviously, and now I think it's good that you're seeing Masson, I think just today, covering the Orioles and Washington Nationals, are going to send their play-by-play and color analyst on the road. And so I think you lose something when you're not there. And Pat knows this from being there and on the field for pregame and postgame, I'm sure, is that you just, those relationships you create, it adds to the broadcast. You have so many more stories to tell when you're around these people, traveling with the players. And so I think that more so than actually calling the game, and I could be wrong, I'm not an experienced play-by-play person, but I think all those relationships that you make when you're down there talking to players before the game, traveling with them, I think that adds to the broadcast as much as being able to see it with your own eyes when the ball goes out into the outfield.
Yeah, Ahmed, I would wholeheartedly agree. I think that being there for the 162 games certainly is a huge benefit, at least for the broadcasters of those particular teams. I'm going to ask you real quick. One of your early games is going to be the Cardinals and Pirates, I think, and that means you're going to get a chance to see Albert Pujols, who's now back with the Cardinals. 681 home runs. He's 15 shy of A-Rod. He's 33 away from Babe Ruth. What are your thoughts? You think he can get it? Certainly his game has declined quite a bit since I covered him, when he was a Cardinal the first time, but he still seems to have a little something in the tank.
He does. And I mean, I think it was kind of shocking when the Los Angeles Dodgers, the deepest organization talent-wise in baseball, it just seems like they probably could field a team that hovered around 500 with the guys who don't play on a regular basis, when they saw a role for an aging Albert Pujols. I think that took me by surprise, and I think it took a lot of other people by surprise. And so clearly there's smart people over in LA. They saw something with him. As you know, smart people in St. Louis, they seem to be contending for a playoff spot every year. So, yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't have guessed that he would be playing right now, to be honest with you. I thought when he walked away from the Angels last year, I was like, all right, that's it. Albert Pujols, sayonara, great career. But who knows? But it just reminds me how difficult this sport is, because I worked at MLB Network for a couple of years, and I worked with Sean Casey, great Cincinnati Red, kind of bounced around a little bit, great guy. And I remember him telling me, he was like, baseball is so hard because everything needs to be going right for you just to keep your head above water. If your wrist is a little sore, if your leg doesn't feel quite right, and we're not talking major injuries here, just minor little nagging injuries. He was like, you go from like a 280 hitter to a 210 hitter. And so the fact that Albert Pujols has been able to maintain it now, not at that elite level that we saw when he was in St. Louis, but maintain it for this long, I mean, he's a rare breed. There aren't going to be too many more players like Albert Pujols in the future.
Nobody better than Sean Casey, by the way. One of the greatest human beings of all time. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, Ahmed, I'm going to bring up a not so wonderful subject. Is we had a situation here where at McHale Center, University of Arizona basketball, there was an incident with a player of UCLA and some unruly fans. We just had an incident in Major League Baseball at Yankee Stadium where you see there in the pictures and the video, a couple of the Guardian players kind of got into it a little bit with some of the Yankee Stadium fans. Where do you see, what do you account for this kind of unruliness between, fans and some of the participants? And we kind of saw this a little bit just before the pandemic started in the NBA, and it's kind of picked up here. Where do you think this is stemming from, and what can be done to kind of fix this?
Man, I don't know. We're not used to being around people anymore. We were cooped up for too long.
Yeah.
Drove us crazy. I'm reminded by someone who once said, they say, social media is not real. All that stuff you see on Facebook and Twitter, that's not real. And someone said, well, it's not real now, but it will be one day. And I wonder that sometimes, kind of the way we interact with each other online. What if eventually 5-10 years from now, that becomes how we interact with people offline, or we become more emboldened to say things that we wouldn't before because we're more used to it now? I don't know if that's happening here, but and I'm sure the political climate's not adding to it, not helping it. So who knows, Jason? But I think we'd be all good to take a step back and reassess how we deal with the other people, even those people that we might not agree with, even those people that may wear a different jersey than the one we're wearing. I think we'd be best placed to look at them a little bit better.
Phoenix Suns had it here too last year in the NBA playoffs as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Pat.
Yeah, exactly right. Let's talk about your first weekend coming up May 7th and 8th. So you're going to be at the Kentucky Derby, is that right? And then you're going to be at Fenway the very next day. Is that what I read?
So that's it. Yep. So I've been covering horse racing since I got to NBC Sports Group 3 years ago. I remember the first day I walked into the building in Stamford, Connecticut. That's where the big headquarters are. And they go, Ahmed, how much do you know about horse racing? Because we're going to put you on horse racing. And I go, I don't know really anything about horse racing. And they go, that's perfect. And I go, that doesn't sound perfect. But they go, no, come at it with curiosity. You're the everyman. You're the common fan. Ask the questions that the people at home will be asking. And so I've been real lucky. 3 years I've kind of had this training and this education on horse racing. And so I've got to go to a couple of Kentucky Derbies. So yeah, I'll be at the Kentucky Derby on the first Saturday in May. I'll be covering the jockeys in the jockeys room. I'll be doing some of the shows on USA Network the day before. And then after the award ceremony, I'll present the trophy to the winning owner. And then right after that, I'm jumping on a plane and heading east to Boston and getting ready for our 11 a.m. pregame show at Fenway Park. And so, yeah, it will be a busy couple of days, but it's one of those where you're going to look back on, or I'll look back on, I'm sure, when I retire and be like, that was one of the coolest weekends of my life. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'll bet. Hey, say hi to Eddie Olczyk for me.
Oh my gosh.
Edzo and I go back to Pittsburgh days when he not only was a player, but when he was a coach of the Penguins. I was doing pre and post game and intermissions for the Penguins.
Speaking of Eddie, great guys like Sean Casey, Eddie Olczyk has been so awesome.
Wonderful.
Like, he's one of them. Like, honestly, Pat, he's one of them that as soon as I got to NBC and I said I didn't know anything about horse racing, he was like, I'm going to help this guy because he didn't want to see me. Yes.
When he became the head coach of the Penguins, I thought this was the greatest move that I'd never seen done before. He called every one of the media members in. We had about an hour-long seminar. And it wasn't a condescending seminar. It was I'm going to show you exactly what we're going to do offensively and defensively. And I want you to ask me questions about it because I don't want you guys to be questioning us what we're doing. This is what we're trying to do. Now, if we don't do it, you can criticize us. But here's what we're trying to do. I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah, he's a people person. He really is. And he's got obviously, if he wants it, a future outside of broadcasting once again, if he wants to get involved with an NHL team. But yeah, and he's always one of the busiest guys on Derby Saturday.
And big on horse racing. Yep.
Huge on horse racing.
Yep.
He is jumping from his live shot, his obligations for NBC to the betting window. I mean, it's just like, if you're not finding him on a TV, he's at the betting window. And usually he wins, but regardless, he's usually paying for dinner. So it's like win or lose, he's doing that. So it's like, I can't wait to see Eddie again.
All right, so you mentioned horse racing. We'll stick on that here for a second. Certainly Bob Baffert is from Southern Arizona, went to the University of Arizona. He had such success, had a couple of Triple Crown winners, and now, his horse Medina Spirit tests positive for, I want to make sure I say it right, betamethasone, and later Medina Spirit passes away. Baffert suspended from Churchill Downs, and now for 90 days, his home track. Ahmed, what's the sense in the horse racing community among Bob Baffert and what's happened with him? Is it a situation where, people feel badly for him? It is a situation where people kind of feel, well, he broke the rules and he deserves to get caught? What's kind of the sense in the horse racing community in regards to Bob Baffert?
Yeah. Getting a consensus in the horse racing community is very difficult, near impossible, but it probably depends on where you live. If you're out in California, in Arizona, where Bob Baffert has grown up and then now works out in California, has got his barn out in California, I think they're a lot more sympathetic to what's happened here. People in Kentucky don't see it the same way. And you don't know the total story here. And obviously, cheating in horse racing has happened for years and years and years. I think we're at a better place in it right now than they have been in a long time, because these rules are in effect and enforced, and they're testing for more things now. But because they're testing for more things, they're also catching more things. And you can make the argument that what Bob Baffert was caught for, betamethasone, as you mentioned there, over the legal limit. There are some places in this country where you can give a horse betamethasone. It's really just an anti-inflammatory. It's to help a horse who may be in pain. Bob Baffert says this positive test came from a skin cream because the horse had a rash, and they have evidence of giving the horse this skin cream to help with the rash on its hindquarters. So if you're going to say that is the same as pumping a horse versus with steroids, I can't agree with that. But if you are going to say that this is Bob Baffert, he is the face of horse racing, most successful Kentucky Derby trainer of all time, and he of all people need to have his horses in line and not go over, no matter if it's betamethasone or whatever, not go over a legal limit. And it has happened a handful of times to some high-profile horses for Bob Baffert. If you do want to make that argument that you need to make an example of Bob Baffert, the face of the sport, I wouldn't disagree with that either. So it's hard to say, is it out and out cheating? Is it carelessness? Maybe it's a little bit of both.
And then the thing that goes hand in hand with that we've seen, unfortunately, is we've seen a lot of deaths of horses in this sport in the last couple of years too. And that happened here at Rito Downs during their winter meet. We had a handful of horses die. Now, whether there's reasoning for that and they have excuses for that, it's still one of those things that I think the industry as a whole has got to probably, at least in my opinion, probably got to do a better job of and police themselves and figure out a way, because I think there's an image problem right now. I don't know if you'd agree with that.
Sure. And I mean, when I first started covering it in 2019, it was very bad, especially in California, some of the tracks there. It was in the news. It was in the New York Times. There was a period in time where it looked like some of the most historic tracks in the country may be going out of business because of this, because the situation had become so untenable. It has, if you look at it, the industry knew that too. And so they looked at it. Is it surface? Is it the time that these horses are running? What is it? Are these horses not being seen by vets at the appropriate time? And so behind the curtain, I can tell you 100% that horse racing, because it faced its own demise, is like, this may go away if we don't figure this out. They have looked at all this stuff. These horses are under surveillance from the moment they get there. They have veterinarians looking at them every time, every day, morning and night. They have independent doctors. They're doing more now than they ever have in the past to try to catch some of these injuries early and prevent horses from running who may be already injured. And so the horse racing industry is doing a lot more. They'll show you some data where it says that horses are not dying at the rate that they did before. The problem with that, though, is that if the number is more than zero, it's hard to say. It's like, hey, we went from 1.5% down to 0.5%, but obviously that still means that some horses are passing away after running a race. And so it's a difficult problem for horse racing. I've seen it firsthand, though. They've done a lot of things to try to address the problem, and by and large, the sport has become safer for horses over the last 3 years.
All right. So Ahmed, you mentioned horse racing, I actually covered it too when I was working in Albany, New York, but it's an example of one of those sports that maybe when you just get into this business, or even when you're growing up, you're not really that exposed to, that you get an appreciation of. And certainly when you go to the network level like you do, you tend to also cover some sports that you maybe not have done in the past. Are there a couple of sports that maybe you've seen for the first time or covered for the first time that you either have gained an appreciation for, or maybe learned something new about, or maybe sports you'd never covered or saw before?
Sure. I mean, doing Premier League soccer, I've always kind of dabbled in some soccer here and there, but being front and center hosting some of these Premier League shows, you just see how huge of a sport this is worldwide and how it's gaining steam, obviously, in the US. But every stadium is packed, every game. There's chants for every team. It's a religion. You just see how much, just like the NFL is that way here in the US, you just see how much Premier League soccer is like that in England. And also another English sport, rugby, that I've been following. I've been doing that for 3 years now. And there's this rugby sevens, which is a faster form of rugby that you may be more familiar with because they do have that in the Olympics. I love that. I think that could become quite popular here in the US if it had more of a regular schedule, if they had more US competitions, because it's a fun, fast sport to watch. We had the World Cup in San Francisco in 2018 that I got the chance to host. I still don't know all the rules. They blow the whistle and I don't know exactly what's happening, but I feel better because we had one announcer that was doing the World Cup with us. And I was like, you do a great job of explaining the penalties. And when you hear a whistle, explaining to this American audience what's happening. I was like, you should do that every time. Just make sure every time there's a whistle, tell us what's happening. And he goes, cool, thank you. I would. There are a few times when I don't even know what's happening. So I felt a lot better. I felt a lot better after that. I'm not alone.
Let's bring it back to baseball real quick too. And we talk about some of the negatives that are going on, and certainly the lockout and the uncertainty of the season didn't help matters, but they're underway now. What does baseball have to do to get everybody back on board as the national pastime and maybe get the ratings back up a little bit and attract a younger audience? That's always seems to be the big issue. How do you attract a younger audience to a game like baseball?
Yeah, that's the $1 million question. I've always thought it's make baseball as exciting as possible, because I think the best way to get a young fan into sports and into baseball in particular is to have their mom, their dad, their brother, their uncle, their next door neighbor really into baseball. That's how I got into it growing up. My grandmother, my mother were really into baseball. They watched baseball. They enjoyed it. They cheered. They got into it. I saw that and I was like, well, maybe this is cool. Maybe I'll do it now too. So I do that. So I really think that, if you're focused on getting the new fan, you've got to speak through the current fan. And I think that's what baseball needs to keep an eye out for, is that how do you make this game as exciting to the people who are watching right now, to the point that they want to share it and they want the people that they love to be exposed to this great game. So I think there are some things that baseball is doing right now to kind of, you might call them new, but return the game to what it was before, get the pace going like it was in the 80s. And certainly in the 70s, get the game moving at a faster pace, maybe get steals into the game a little bit more. There are things that baseball does need to do to make sure the game, the product, is as entertaining as possible. Then you can talk about, streaming and what platform should we put it on, and, different colored jerseys and getting the greatest music stars to show up to the game. That's all on the sidelines too. Is the game exciting, and do people want to share it with the people they love?
All right, Ahmed, last one for me. The rule changes in baseball. Give me one that you are either, give me one you're for, give me one you're a little hesitant about, and give me one that maybe people aren't talking about, or maybe it's just a little further in the future that you would like to see implemented.
I'm basically for anything that MLB has proposed. They've been thoughtful rules. You look at the minor league rules, eliminating pickoffs to a certain number. You can only pick off a couple times per at bat, I think, is a very interesting one. Using an automated strike zone, I think, is quite interesting, although I do fear that you take away that relationship of batter and umpire. You saw Angel Hernandez mess up a few calls once again, and Kyle Schwarber go crazy. That's a moment that, honestly, you don't like that if you're Kyle Schwarber, but if you're Major League Baseball, that's one of the most interesting moments probably of the early season so far. But I think anything that gets the game moving faster, a pitch clock, gets more steals, gets more action, gets players diving around, limiting a shift, I think would do that. Anything that just creates more action and exciting play, I'm basically for. And Jason, you know me, I throw out a ton of crazy ideas. And so I even have ideas that are even crazier than the ones that have been contemplated before. I have gone on record as saying that I think baseball should totally experiment with some different things out there, but those are not always well received. So I usually keep those to myself, but I think just push the envelope and make sure that this game is played as aesthetically pleasing as possible.
My one would be, and I don't know how you do it. We got to cut down on the strikeouts.
Yes.
All you see is strikeouts. This is a game where Jason knows that I call our local indoor football league team and the Tucson Sugar Skulls. They put up 72 points the other night. Well, wouldn't you like to see something, in baseball where instead of having 10 guys strike out in a game, you actually see 10 runs put up in a game? It happens. Don't get me wrong, but I think more offense would bring people back, just like they did McGuire, Sosa, and I don't want to go down that road, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, it was not that long ago. I think, Pat, it was like 10 years ago where we had never seen a season where there was more strikeouts than hits. And now basically every day you look at the box score every day, the cumulative box score of every game in Major League Baseball, every day there's about 30 more strikeouts than hits. And so we're getting that every day. You're right. It's a completely different game, which is why I think some of the changes that need to happen don't change the game from what it was 20, 30 years ago. It kind of returns it to its roots. But I kind of wonder, Pat, about like the baseball, and if it's possible to make a baseball that pitchers can't curve and slide and two seam as much, because I think as much as the velocity has been difficult for hitters, I think the increased usage of curveball sliders, you've seen that go past 50% now, I think, for the first time ever. I think that's having just as much of an effect. So I don't know how you do it. Maybe that's one way, but I agree with you. I think balls in play has to be a priority for baseball.
Yeah. Let's hope they can figure something out.
Ahmed Fareed of NBC Sports, thanks so much for joining us here on the Huddle. Ahmed, it hit 100 degrees today in Tucson for the first time this year. Yes, so we got a summer coming up here. So enjoy. I know you're in Connecticut, so enjoy a little cool weather. And,
yeah, when it's 7 degrees in Connecticut, that doesn't sound that bad, to be quite honest with you. But no, great talking to you guys.
Yeah,
hey, great
talking
to you, Ahmed. Take care and enjoy your baseball season. That'll be a lot of fun.
Will do. Thanks, guys.
All right, for Pat and Ahmed, I'm Jason Barr here on the Huddle on KGO 9 streaming platforms, and we will see you right back here next week at this time. Thanks, everybody.